Hello and welcome to another edition of the Ultra Confusion Hangout. I'm your host, Charlie, and I'm joined once again by the prolific Commodore himself, Zelius.
Yeah, what's up, Mr. Charlie Hawkins, the third?
Oh, a little of this, a little of that. I survived Dragon Con. I think that by tomorrow I'll actually be back to full strength.
Very nice. I knew you'd make it. You're a man of great stature and endurance and stability.
Gonna be honest with you, it was pretty touch and go there on Monday and then Tuesday and most of Wednesday.
You mean making it?
Yeah.
Not just dying while you're sitting and passing out?
Well, the thing is that I basically ended up working. Good Lord, everything is making noises around me. I ended up basically working the table for like 33 hours.
It's a hell of a weekend.
Yeah. It was productive, though. I mean, I handed out almost the majority of the Ultra Confusion buttons, which means I'm going to have to get some for SiegeCon.
And how many pens was that?
I think I started off with like at least close to around 300, and I'm pretty sure that I've got like 50 left.
Damn, yo.
Yeah.
Getting it out like it's the Hot Rocks.
Yeah. So let's see here. So Dragon Con is unfortunately over, or fortunately, depending on if I want to survive or not. I literally bathed in Purell the entire weekend and was taking this stuff like it was going out of style.
Did you feel like you were in the air, like in an airplane, because you had so much airborne?
No.
It had like the alternative effect on you?
No. But I tell you what, though, I was pretty messed up because of all the energy drinks I had digested to just or ingested just so I could continue to function the way I was going.
It's not like you don't already drink enough the way it is.
Well, dude, was it Saturday? Yeah, Saturday. I ate breakfast at my house, stopped at BP, got me some energy drinks, and then went down to Dragon Con, and literally from 9:30 until 7:30, I had 3 energy drinks, and that was it the entire day.
That's gross.
Yeah.
Gross.
Now I'd like to take a moment to pause and thank Josh Clark for rescuing me and actually giving me lunch on Sunday, because if I had to do the 3 energy drinks only again, I probably would have collapsed and died behind the table.
Is Josh Clark a random dude?
No, Josh Clark is actually the founder of CrossPad Studios. I had the amazing chance to actually interview him, and I'm hoping to interview him further in the future.
Excellent.
Indeed. Indeed. So let's get into games, shall we?
Indeed. Games is why we be here, yo.
Games still exist.
They do. It is a funny function of life that in some way, form, or fashion, I reckon that games will always exist. Maybe not in their present form as we know them today, but in some way there is always going to be that challenge to get to the next level of mastery and difficulty.
Yeah, most games I don't think are as difficult as they were in the past.
I think there's... Okay, I would say by default, you're right. But you can always, in a lot of games, though, you can crank up those settings up to, like, maximum difficulty. Now, granted, like, the beginning of life, like, it was maximum difficulty because they didn't have frickin' fire yet.
Right.
So that was pretty difficult, lifestyle. But then they got to, like, level 1 of fire making. And all of a sudden, it's like, dude, this is awesome. See,
Nice.
It's all a game, yo.
There it is. There
Gamification of life. But yeah, I think overall, in the grand scheme of things, I think you're right. Their games are easier than they used to be, but they also have difficulty rankings. Like, Mario Brothers and Nintendo. You had one difficulty level.
Yep.
I mean, we've all seen the joke of, if Mario Brothers came out and, the original Super Mario Brothers came out in 2013, you'd have to unlock the ability to jump. You'd have to, unlock the fox suit, all this different shit. But you also didn't have the ability in those games to have difficulties. Whereas now, For instance, Mass Effect. You can have normal mode, which I think it's a pretty decent difficulty for your first time into it.
Right.
But then if after you beat it, you can crank up to like uber difficulty, you will die mode. So it's a little bit of give and take, I guess, of that difficulty mode.
Right.
I never played the game, but then you take a game I've heard outrageous things about. What is it, Demon Souls?
Oh God, yeah.
And it's like an unforgiving game. So I think in some ways you're right. I think it's just a different type of difficulty we have in games nowadays. Because then you also have the complex game controls of some games. Some people they can't handle the complex game controls of current games. Like that's why I never play what are they fight like Street Fighter type games, like Tekken and those games. Because I don't have the patience or wherewithal to memorize, 18 button combinations using 6 different keypads and 4 different I just know that's not the game to me.
Right.
So, it's just a different time of giving games. So, I don't know.
I got you. I'm sorry, my fatigue is still kind of hitting me.
Really?
So one of the biggest things about Dragon Con, and I said this I think a bajillion times, so I think I could say it a bajillion and one times. For those individuals out there who may be viewing this video for the first time or actually tuning in for the first time, I just want to lay something out for you real quick. We are Alter Confusion. We are a independent video game news review and website based in Atlanta, Georgia, though we do have individuals who are part of the Alter Confusion universe that aren't.
I was going to say family.
Right, family. That's the word I was really looking for. That are in other places. Our main focus is on bringing attention to the independent games, simply because we know that everybody and their mother who's a reviewer is probably going to review Halo 75 and Madden 21 bajillion. But there's not a lot of reviewers out there who are aware of some of these amazing games. And it's partially the reviewer's fault, and it's partially the developer's fault, because I'm going to be honest with you. Developers are very creative and ingenious, but they have no marketing skills whatsoever. And they fall under the category of the product will speak for itself, which is the worst financial marketing strategy known to man.
Can I ask you a quick question, though? Do you really think they think it's a matter of the game speaks for itself? Or maybe it's a matter of, they have X amount of resources. Let's say you have 100 resource points.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you going to allocate those resource points? You have the EA who, say, has 1,000 resource points.
Mm-hmm.
Versus you have a smaller publisher who has only 100 resource points. Well, EA can obviously allocate a decent portion of those 1,000 points to advertising, whereas a smaller publisher or company, whatever title we're giving them, can they really devote more than, say, 10 of those points to marketing, whereas EA by default is going to already market 100 of those points?
Okay.
Just by sheer, resources. That's
right. Okay. So yes. Okay. 1 second here. Sorry, I got to close some windows on the other computer. Okay. So I understand where you're coming from. I think that yes, the developers are always on a shoestring budget, or probably a peanut butter and
ramen noodles.
Or I'm saying that ramen noodles is basically the bottom of the bottom.
Maybe they've got past the ramen noodle stage.
I'm talking peanut butter and saltine crackers. Okay, that's a delicacy.
Level right here.
Yeah. So you're right. I mean, the majority of the money that a developer has, they're going to put forth towards their product to make the product in their mind as good as possible. Now, when it comes to marketing, I think that it is kind of a mixture of they don't have any points left, and also they don't have the know-it-all to really market their product. Now, there are I mean, you can always do the grassroots campaign of word of mouth, because that's probably going to be your cheapest route, and it's probably the easiest route. But the problem is that is too small of a market. Now, another tactic that a lot of developers do, and independence, this makes total sense because you're trying to. My analogy is basically you've got a bunch of how the hell am I going to put this? Uh, okay, this is my fatigued brain going at it. Okay, so I apologize ahead of time. So you have a bunch of different pieces of toast. Okay, and each
What kind of toast? Are we talking like
we're
wheat?
talking
Are we talking like pimpernel? Are we
no
talking
we're talking Wonder Bread white ass toast. Okay,
okay?
okay, you got your Wonder Bread toast. Okay, that is your game. Okay, now you want to put it on as many platforms as possible so that you can get recognition. So what you're hoping is that you will choose several different spreads. Each spread is a different platform that you're going to put on a different piece of toast. It's the same game, but it's on different, but it's got different spreads on different platforms. So what you
Okay.
do is you throw all of the pieces of toast with the spread on it, spread side towards the wall, and see which one sticks.
Hmm.
And the one that sticks, that's really where you're going to get the majority of your attention. Now, if you do it right, that means that you can narrow down sequels or build a name for yourself for that specific platform. Now, it's much, much more difficult to do it in the Android marketplace than it is the iOS marketplace because iOS is controlled strictly by Apple. Android, yes, it's a Google iOS operating system, but you have basically every dude under the sun who has a tablet or a phone or a toaster or a blender who's crazy enough to put Android or try to put some version of Android on it, they're going to put it on there. And it's a lot harder, say, to become, the independent developer on the Ouya because, it's literally,
Who
you
really
would
wants
want
to
to,
be the independent developer of Ouya?
well, no, you want to be the independent developer of Android because Ouya is a variety of Android. The Game Stick that just came out, that's a variety of Android. You've got the NVIDIA Shield, which I don't remember if that one actually connects into the Google Play Marketplace or not. I can't remember. I think it does though because
Well, yeah,
uh,
like Chuck's challenge is
yeah,
like better with the NVIDIA Shield.
yeah,
So it's a joystick that you can use with your tablet or whatever Android device you happen to have today.
right. So, but anyways, so at Ultra Confusion, we'd rather take the time out and help the independent developers out there get the recognition for their unique and creative work over trying to throw our review that 40,000 other review sites are going to do. Now, that's not saying that we're not going to review AAA titles. We still will do that, but we put the emphasis on independent games.
With all the reviews I've done over the years.
Hey, you're getting better. I mean,
I think I doubled my output in the last week.
I'm basically holding you at gunpoint, but you're doing better.
It kind of feels that way.
Mm.
They tricked me into the ball.
Yep. It's not my fault that you didn't read the actual email.
Why the hell would I actually read an entire email? What do you think I am?
I keep forgetting. Zelius does not read text at all.
No. Text? What? I don't understand. Why would I read something on my monitor? It does not compute.
Which, of course, is basically how he always gets through all these video games and has no freaking clue what the hell the story's about.
Hi, now. I've tried to get... Actually, it's usually the Xbox where I'll read the text. But on the computer, yeah, pretty much. I still just kind of fly by the seat of my pants. Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, so...
Although, ironically, one of my favorite parts of some video games is not actually, like, reading the text in the game, but basically read up on, like, meta theory of the game. Like Eve, for instance. Like, I haven't touched Eve in months, but I'll still, like, read the boards and see, like, what's going on. Be like, dude, that sounds awesome. Or spending, like, weeks going through, like, the Boulder Skate instruction manual and then playing 5 minutes of the game. And I've done that a number of times where, like, I'll read up so much of the game and then, like, not even touch it.
Right. Yeah. Anywho, so I love video games. I wish there were more quality games out there. In my opinion, the quality I want to see in games.
I think there's a lot of quality video games. I think you're just a little bit needy.
Ooh.
Well, when you play as many of video games as you do, my friend, you're gonna blow through them all.
Yeah.
Actually, if you want a good nostalgia, I know this is kind of getting back to a different website, but did you see the on Kotaku? They have a post. I think it was like 2 days ago, where basically they're saying the post like it had to have been made before 2003. It was just really fun to read because basically people were posting their comments, and the comments had to actually be pretty detailed. Like I had to have a screenshot of the game. I had to have like an actual kind of like detailed explanation of like why this game was good and like why it also then stands up to games from that are made it 10 years later.
Right.
Interesting. Holy crap, is it long? But it's just kind of fun to like read down to a nostalgia lane like StarCraft, Baldur's Gate, Raptor Call of the Shadows, all these games where it's like and it's kind of funny because you're saying like I want more quality games, and it's like there are plenty of quality games. Maybe sometimes we have to go back a little bit in time. 10 years ago, I'd be like, well, what games can I maybe revisit and, rehash out to make a go-off?
True, but then the question becomes distribution of those games. It depends on the system. If it's a console, it's basically dust in the wind. If it's PC, you might get lucky and you can go to Good Old Games or find it on Steam or, God forbid, you go to Origin.
Yeah, it used to be. Oh my gosh, what was that website that had all the Abandonware games?
I don't know.
Something Dogs, I think. It was. I mean, it was a game. It was a website. I mean, these are games from like the 90s and 80s.
Right.
And it was just all like Abandonware games. It was also kind of before Good Old Games, and Steve really started actually, going back and kind of re-releasing these games.
Right.
So it's kind of that middle era almost of gaming distribution where there wasn't really a market for that. Well, there was a market. There was just no distribution points. Legal distribution points, I should say.
Right.
But this was very much, and it had like every Abandonware game on it. It was pretty awesome. But it kind of went by the wayside. That was a fun one.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind actually being able to go back and, in time and playing some of the games that I've played way back when. Or some of the games that I actually purchased that are still in the wrapper.
Nice.
Yeah.
DOSBox it,
Yeah, oh my gosh. Oh, okay. Speaking of DOSBox, the last game that I really played through DOSBox was Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? There was, I think it was a girlfriend and boyfriend, or husband and wife. They had the perfect costume. She was Carmen Sandiego, and he would be, and the guy would walk behind her and peek over her shoulder as Where's Waldo.
Nice.
I know. It's awesome. By the way, there was a bunch of phenomenal different costumes out there. You had like anime cosplay, you had video game cosplay, you had steampunk interpretations of different characters. I mean, it was awesome. I just wish I was able to like move around a little bit more than just the MMO/video game/game programming track area.
What I think would get you a lot more attention next year if you have a fan table again at Dragon Con?
What?
If you seriously cosplay. I'm not just talking throwing on like a quick like Doctor Who get up. I'm talking going like all out something. That would get some attention.
Actually, if I didn't have a table, I was actually contemplating about dressing up as Harry Dresden from the Dresden Files.
There you go.
Yeah, that would have been interesting. Just saying.
I'm sure you could have done it,
I probably could. One of these days, I think I'll grow the cojones and actually try to go with Nicholas Wolfwood from Trigun. But I'm going to have to.
Corgi with you too, right? Or am I thinking of the right show?
Do what?
No, never mind. It's wrong anime.
But I'd have to build myself a huge ass cross that I'd have to carry over my back.
It's like when people, I guess they still do it some, but the big Final Fantasy VII, that's like 4 times your body length.
Oh yeah. Cloud's blade.
Yeah.
No, someone came as Cloud from oh my gosh, what was the anime called? Advent Children. Um, and Cloud's blade actually like separates into two separate blades, and the dude had the he had built a blade that actually separated into two.
That's pretty badass.
It was badass.
Some people got mad skills when it comes to the whole cosplay thing.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, the majority of the people who truly cosplay, I mean, they've got like 2 weeks off, and then they're going to be building the costume for next Dragon Con.
Hmm. Yeah, no.
Yeah. So let's talk games, Zelius. I played the crap out of a game called Tennis in the Face on the Ouya. It is a physics-based game. I just threw up a review of it. I don't know if I was supposed to have as much fun as I had, smacking tennis balls against walls and knocking out hipsters and consultants and clowns with tennis balls, but it was hilariously fun and really
Who
easy to
doesn't
pick
like
up.
hitting a clown with a tennis ball?
Well, the other thing was that this game is on several different platforms, so it was easy to show everyone what it looked like on the Ouya, and then they could go back with the majority of their cell phones and be able to download it and play it there.
Nice.
Indeed. Let's see here. Um, I picked up a couple games for my Google device. Um,
You know, not what you speak of.
yeah, exactly. I picked up Elder Sign, which is a board game, and Hard as Balls,
Hmm.
because the board game is hard as balls. I picked up a game called Gala Tennis, which is
I played that.
yeah, it is actually developed by uh, one of my buddies from Full Sail. And
Hmm.
then the last game that I picked up is a game called Little Galaxy,
Hmm.
which is really it's pretty simple, but it's challenging. So you're this guy who's standing on a world or a world that's rotating, and at one point you got to tap the screen, and he'll jump to the next planet. But the planets rotate in different directions, and sometimes they go faster, and sometimes there's a sun there that will change the gravitational pull when you jump off. But you're also trying to collect these stars as you go along. It's really interesting.
Hmm.
Um, Trying to think if there's any other games I'm playing. I am playing The Witcher Uno for the
Oh, you
PC.
went back to CB8 Witcher 2?
Yeah.
So now you're going back in time.
Yes.
Nice.
I The Witcher 2's combat system kind of spoiled me. The Witcher 1's combat system is much, much slower. It penalizes you for trying to spam the mouse button. It's like, oh, too fast. Therefore, you're not going to swing at all.
Yeah.
But it is interesting that you have different attack styles. That I find interesting. So that you have different strategies when you're battling against different creatures. Um, yeah. I've also picked up a game called what the hell is the name of the game? It
I
is
have no idea.
called.
It's a game. It was
Hold
awesome.
on, hold on.
Okay.
Let me cheat here. People are going to see my desktop for just a second, so I can find it. It's called Outlast. Um, that game is freaky as hell.
Freaky?
Yeah, so you are a journalist who is known to get over his head in trouble because you'll do anything to pursue a story. So there's this weird conspiracy story about this mental asylum up in the middle of nowhere, and you have to go check it out. You brought your camcorder with you and your field notes, and now you're gonna try to get into the building and find out what the hell's really going on. Of course, when you get in there, you find blood everywhere
Hmm.
and several uh, disemboweled bodies and whatnot. And then shit starts popping out at you from out of nowhere.
Nice. Sounds like a pleasant family game to play in the
Oh
living
yeah,
room.
oh yeah. Thank God I started playing this with when it was daylight outside. Because if I first attempted to play this in the dark like I usually do with horror games, I probably would have shit my pants. Not gonna lie, it freaked the hell out of me. The first time the thing came in, I was like, what the fuck is it? Oh my god! Jesus! And it was just a body falling from the rafters.
Yeah, I can't say I played a game like that before.
Yeah, you have.
Maybe I erased it from my memory.
I let you borrow a game like that.
Oh, Condemned.
Yes. This is. Mm, the graphics aren't. I mean, the graphics are not as crisp as I would like them to be, but it's still a very interesting game. Then again, this is an independently developed game, so I think they're probably utilizing a homebrewed graphics engine to run their stuff.
Let's see here. On my end, I've been playing. I played and reviewed. It's a game called The Ball. It's a game where basically you have a ball. I prefer to call it a marble because it's funny just to say I'm moving my ball everywhere because I'm juvenile. So you have a marble, and basically the goal is you have to get to the end of the stage. So it's kind of like a left to right scroller, at least the stages I did. We also have challenges. You have to go down and cross over like pits, and so it's just one of those kind of like games. It was okay. The problem I had with the game is it's not very forgiving in terms of like traps and hitting them. And a lot of the stages I played, you had to have very extremely precise controls. The kind of game where like if you had a joystick, you move it just a fraction, move a little, it would have been perfect. With this game, well, you have a button which on the tablet obviously does not detect pressure. So it's kind of like you tap it and you move further than you want to, or you tap it twice and you move a lot further than you want to. It's just kind of frustrating.
Right.
So for me, it was a very frustrating experience in terms of moving around and making it to where I wanted to. So for me, that was kind of like not my style of game. It just didn't do it for me. I think on something like the Xbox, where you maybe have the controller, where you can kind of control, the pressure of which the ball moves, maybe a little bit better. I just don't know if it was quite. I could use a little bit more, I think, refinement on that, especially as far as the difficulty goes, considering the control scheme.
Gotcha.
That's kind of my approach to the game.
Gotcha.
So I played that. I have also played, thanks to Mr. Charlie Hawkins' review on the website. I splurged on $10 and I downloaded Castle Storm.
Yep.
Castle Storm. And I know I talked about the website, but it's kind of a quasi like castle defense / attack the enemy game. You kind of do a little bit of both because you have to defend your castle. So basically, it's a just two-dimensional. So your castle's here, enemy castle's here. Usually your castle, you guys have to get to the other castle and destroy it. One of the interesting things in the game, there's multiple ways to do this. You have your ballista, so you can spend the whole time just sniping enemies if you want to. Or you can, strengthen up your own army. You can send out knights and archers and paladins, and they'll go across the screen and attack the enemy. But then if you use your ballista on them, then all of a sudden you got friendly fire, and then your guys start yelling at you, and then you get a cutscene that they want compensation for friendly fire, because the game has horribly pun jokes sometimes.
Yeah.
Great corny jokes. I thought they were kind of funny.
Oh, yeah.
And then you have your hero, so you also have like a hero that you can throw into the battlefield. He's like super powered, and he runs across for 30 seconds or more if you level him up. There's also a very heavy RPG element. In terms of one of the things I liked about the RPG element, it seems like a lot of games, a lot of these kind of games, like if you level up, say, your knight, you go from like strength 11 to 12, 12 to 13. This game, you go from like 10 to 14, 14 to 8. Like, it was a noticeable difference in the strength of your players. And that's something I liked. It's probably, artificial, where they had to be so powerful by the end anyways, based on those increments. But even, that false security of bigger number increases, it just makes me feel better about spending my money. So I've been playing that, and that's been a fun game so far. I'm about 25% of the way through, I think. Okay, so funny story is, okay, so how you have the castle creator, right?
Yep.
Well, I thought I was all being badass and figured out a bug in the game, right? So you know how like you can build like your stone arches and stuff? Well, I was like, wait, I can just put the stone like not actually on anything and just in the front, just freestanding. And like it was great, right? So like, sweet, this is awesome. And like nobody can get by because it's like 4 deep all the way to the top, protecting my stuff. Nobody can get to this. I start the game. Yeah, it definitely just whoop all collapsed and crushed my castle. I was like, wow, that's so Jacko was playing.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it seemed like a great bug I found, and no, not at all. So that was just kind of one of those moments of, all right, well, I guess we thought of that one.
right. Well, I actually did basically the same thing, but thankfully I clicked on the test castle mode, and then like I kind of like left spaces so that I could put more stone, and when I started the test, literally all the stone basically just broke the walls, and the stone just went right through the
Nice.
middle of my castle.
One one thing I am very thankful for in the game.
Hmm.
So as you level up, you also get like new rooms and armories to actually have like new and different troops.
Yep.
Is that you also have pre-made castles to utilize these different rooms.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Kind of like if you had to create a new castle for like every new room you got. I mean, it's a cool feature to be able to build your own castle.
Yep.
But that would get extremely tedious very quickly if you had to do that every time. Especially because every time you beat like a level, it seems like you're getting some new special, room or whatever, which is cool. But if you had to actually like then build from scratch every time, yeah, I would not be playing that game anymore. And then my last game I've been playing, I don't know what came over me over the weekend. You ever have like all of a sudden like, man, I need to play this game
Yep.
again?
Yep.
I had this kick to play StarCraft 2. I was like, man, I need to play StarCraft 2. So what did I do? I logged on to Blizzard.com, actually Battle.net, downloaded StarCraft 2, and an hour later I was kicking ass as Jim Raynor again, taking names, and being all sulky over my lost love. Such a tragic story. Tragic story.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. I still am not going to buy that until all three are out.
If like we still have video games as we know them by then, it could be like the holodeck by the time it comes out.
I'd be cool with that. Be
Actually,
holodeck in the Protoss. Yeah.
That would actually kind of make sense.
Mhm.
It'd be a good segue into like we have holograms and all kinds of crazy shit because you're the Protoss and you're all advanced, which has always been like one of the funny things about the game. You played the original StarCraft, did you?
Yes, absolutely.
It's always like, the Protoss, they're so advanced. They're millennia and thousands of years ahead of humans. Like, if they're really so technologically advanced, they're just be able to, like, drop a giant nuke into the frickin' Terrans and blow them all to smithereens, like, instantaneously.
Right.
Like, there's always been that disconnect for me with, like, the Protoss don't really seem very advanced because they get their ass kicked all the time by everybody. So
Well,
I'm not really convinced.
Well, they're so advanced that all their stuff is just so complex. It just takes so much time. Now, if you give them the time, they'll kick the crap out of you like there's no tomorrow. But they're going to need some time.
Yeah. It just seems silly to me that
Oh,
they're supposed to be so advanced and that it's like, I mean, obviously they have to balance out the three races for gameplay. I mean, obviously from a gameplay perspective, it makes sense. But from a story standpoint, which, StarCraft's all about the story, it's kind of like, although the story in StarCraft 2 actually ain't too shabby. I think it's interesting.
Right on, right on. Actually, speaking of advanced technologies, there is a rumor out there that due to the overwhelming popularity of the Oculus Rift, which is a VR glasses that was kickstarted and now is getting some backing from several different sources, Sony might be making an announcement for a VR headset that will plug into your PlayStation 4 sometime really soon. So that
Okay,
should be
that's
interesting.
that's an interesting thing you say that.
Mhm.
Is, okay, when it comes to gaming consoles,
Mhm.
from a gameplay perspective, the kind of perception is Nintendo's always been ahead of the curve. You know,
Not anymore, but yeah.
the perception,
Right.
from a gameplay perspective, do you think that maybe the idea of, this virtual reality environment in some form or fashion, maybe that's an opportunity that could potentially pass Nintendo by? Then maybe, it seems like Nintendo, they need something for their next console. Like, look at us. Maybe that's that next link that Nintendo can do. And interesting, I mean, it could be Sony who, potentially gets that next, evolution in the style of gameplay.
I don't know if
If this
Nintendo's
works.
going to make it to their next console, but if they can, then sure. I mean, they've got to reinvent themselves. Let's be honest.
I think
Uh,
Nintendo has one console left in them at least.
they need a big title for this one in order to get to that next console, though.
Well, I mean, not in the immediate future, obviously. I mean, Nintendo Wii is still like it's the Wii like 1.5.
Right.
So I mean the Wii. I think everybody kind of acknowledges the Wii 2.
Wii U.
Thank you. The Wii U has been kind of a yeah failure, unfortunately. And it sucks because from a gamer, it's been fun to have that pushing an envelope, not just from we have more shaders or more. We have DDR5 instead of DDR4 RAM and stuff that, guess what, the game's going to look pretty damn close on both systems anyway, so who cares?
Right.
Pushing an envelope from the actual gameplay perspective and how you enter the games, and that's why I'd hate to see Nintendo drop out of the game market.
Well, actually, I totally missed this, but apparently Nintendo either just came out with or is about to release the 2DS. There's
Wow.
so many individuals out there who are just turning the 3D part of the DS off that they're just like, F it, we're going to release a 2D version. Now, the weird thing, though, is I'm trying to find if I have like something that I can make an example of here. Okay, let's just. Yeah. All right, let's just use this as an example. Okay, let's just say that this is a 3DS. Okay,
Uh-huh.
the 3DS flips open. You got your top screen, you got your bottom screen, all your controls, right?
What is that?
I don't know what it is.
Okay.
The 2DS is just that. There's no bendy. It's literally just screen up here, screen down there. No flip.
That seems kind of silly.
I don't.
Okay, I guess from when I saw people like you carrying around your Nintendo mobile device, it seemed like one of the nice things was with the bendy thing, you could go like whoosh, and you
Yep.
could just throw it in your bag and walk on.
Yep.
It was very convenient to travel around
Yep.
with those Nintendo devices because it folded in half like that. It's like its own protective case.
Mhm.
Whereas now, if it doesn't do that, it seems like it's in a much more fragile state, and it's not as mobile as it would otherwise be.
I agree. I agree.
Hmm.
Yes. I
Interesting.
don't. Yeah. I don't
Oh,
know.
well, yeah. First I've heard of it, so
Yeah.
we'll see.
Okay. Let's see what else we have on tap for Alter Confusion. Um. Ah.
Ah,
I had a wonderful conversation with an up and coming artist, um, comic artist, that works at a company called Oni Press here in Atlanta, Georgia. This individual, I believe Zelius might know this individual. Her name
pretty sure.
is Jackie Lewis.
Yep.
Um,
I
she,
think I went to OLA with her.
yes, she did.
That's how I know.
Yep. She is a phenomenal artist, and she's actually currently working on her second uh, main art book. The previous one, I believe, is called Play Ball or Let's Play. That was her first. I mean, she's done like a lot of behind the scenes art, but this was her first real one. She's working on her second one. Um, by her inspiration, and with my wonderful desire to always try to push Alter Confusion as hard and as fast as possible, you might see some extra stuff happening on Alter Confusion that you haven't seen in a while. And I'll leave it at that.
Am I allowed to take a guess at this?
Shoot.
The comic.
A comic. I don't know if it's going to continue the Stephen Hawke journey, but it's going to be a comic.
Fair enough. Some form of artistic rendering
Yes.
on the website.
Yes.
Excellent.
be prepared. It's coming. I actually have to plug up my tablet and start relearning how to draw. I think, or maybe hell, maybe I'll just throw caution to the wind and just start doodling on pieces of paper and scan it and then post it straight to the website and go, there you go, motherfuckers.
My mind is ready to be blown.
I think it's more about the crazy shit that the words that come out of my head than the actual arts that the actual drawing portion. But it could be good. I mean, everybody, if you ever read the comic, I'm sure that you read the Hawk's Mind. I think there's like 22 episodes of that where it's just pure off the wall weird ass shit. But it was good.
You
I
had
liked
some
it.
pretty crazy stuff.
Yes, I do sometimes have crazy stuff spout out of my brain.
That's okay.
Yes, indeed. I like to think so. So, let's talk about the future.
The future is happening 5 seconds from now.
The future is happening right in a couple seconds.
Speaking of the future, totally not having to do with anything on video games, but this weekend on Netflix, I kind of had a. Have you seen the show Continuum?
Yes. I saw
Wow.
like almost the entire first season.
I'm actually pretty damn impressed with the show.
I know.
I thought I was feeling pretty good. However, the only thing is I know what it feels like for somebody who lives outside the United States now and trying to watch like our video productions. Because as soon as I watched the first, okay, going back a little, Continuum is made by, I don't actually know the name of the company, but it's basically a Canadian broadcasting company, kind of like the BBC, but out of Canada.
Yep.
And they've made other things like Warehouse 13. They make Lost Girl, basically a bunch of those sci-fi shows.
I think they also did Eureka.
Could be. I don't remember seeing that on their website, but very possible. And I think they've done one or two things that people have probably heard of over the years. But the thing is, it's a Canadian-based company. So guess what happens? You go to the website and you try to press play for season 2 because you go there, it's like, dude, all this stuff is freely available on the website to watch.
It's region coded. Dude, I don't know what just happened, but we're all doing. Oh Jesus! What the hell just happened?
What? I'm so confused.
Dude, for like the last like 30 seconds, it sounded like you had become a transformer.
Maybe like time travel's happening, and I'm getting implants in the future, and it's like catching up with us now.
Okay, so I'm just basically going to assume that you got really pissed off at the Continuum thing because you wanted to watch it, but because it was region coded, you couldn't watch it, and now you feel the angst and the desire to watch a show that you can't because you're in the wrong country.
Pretty much. I'm going to move to Canada this weekend just so I can finish watching it.
Fantastic.
I've decided I'm ready to become Canadian.
Well, you're closer to Canada than I am.
I probably could just drive to Canada this weekend, watch it on my laptop, and come back.
It's true.
Granted, it might be cheaper just to like go buy season 2 DVDs than the gas, but that's okay.
That's if season 2's already been released. I don't know if it has or not.
I honestly have no. I mean, I'm just going until season 2 comes on Netflix. I don't care that much.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good show, but it's not like I am talking now. So I'm willing to wait. And it's one of those things where like, since there are legal and pretty low barrier ways to watch the show eventually, at least, I'm willing to wait and wait for those avenues to open up.
Right on, right on.
Not that it promotes such a thing, but unlike, say, I don't know, a Game of Thrones, which, unless you have HBO, is expensive to watch. So that's where it's kind of like, oh, damn you. But
Do you not have HBO?
nope.
Dude, why didn't you tell me? I've got HBO. I could have given you my HBO shit, and then you could be watching
Well, we could not do that after the podcast.
it. Right.
Because I would never promote such a thing ever of sharing codes to watch shows that do not belong to me.
Mm-hmm.
That would be terrible.
Terrible. Terrible.
Terrible. Do you still have HBO? That is the question.
Yes.
Okay, I may have to ask you later if certain shows are on HBO that I've heard of.
True Blood, Game of Thrones, Boardwalk Empire. What's the other ones we watch?
Sports Night? Or is that
I don't know.
Showroom or shows? I think there's an Aaron Sorkin.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Newsroom.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
Is it as good as The President's Show?
Julie thinks it's better than West Wing.
It's whew. Is it a comedy or is it actually like serious?
It's serious.
Okay, that could be an issue.
Why?
Because if like I start watching it, it's better than The West Wing. I may not move from my couch.
Yeah.
Like I'm just gonna bring like Rose's cat food like over to the couch and just open it up. And, like I'm not getting up. Just out of it.
Right.
Okay. So
yes,
I don't know what we were talking about before I totally went off the rails about TV shows.
That's okay. For you individuals out there who are watching this, either the live broadcast or the recording, I do want to point out one thing. Ultra Confusion will be at many conventions coming this next year. We, of course, will be trying to give you the continuation of the Destruction of the Game Industry as We Know It panel. It has definitely grown legs and continues to impress, so do not be surprised if when we attend a panel, that shows up. So far, it looks like we might be going to and presenting at Canuga in Chattanooga, MomoCon in Atlanta, AndoCon in it's not going to be in Kennesaw this time. It's actually going to be in Dunwoody because of scheduling conflicts. DragonCon again. This time we might be presenting our panel. Never know. MonsterCon has already invited us to at least attend again. We're going to see if we can't get the panel again. RoundCon, which is in Columbia, South Carolina, we're trying to stay connected with them so we can get that information there. And then, of course, SiegeCon again. And I sure hope that that's all the conventions because I already feel exhausted just mentioning all of those.
Just a quick throw it out there. If anybody actually Googles the destruction of the game industry, you know what the first hits are?
Please tell me it's my video.
It is. It's like boom, 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 which I think is kind of cool.
Damn Skippy.
So there's
just saying. And to be honest with you, anybody who actually attends our panel, it is an evolution. Every single time that we say it, we change pieces, so you'll never get the same panel twice. Just saying.
Well, it's beautiful. I mean, look at the game industry. 6 months from now, we're going to have 2 new consoles out.
Right.
So it's going to be a radically different world we live in then versus now as far as gaming goes.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it obviously makes sense to, it's nice that you're not like a curmudgeon old, IT guy who gets stuck in their ways and is still stuck in the, Solaris operating system because it was the end-all be-all 20 years ago.
Forget Solaris. What the hell is it called? It was like the Deck 10 or something like that. Some ancient system that Winthrop actually had all their servers on. And my dad asked about that when we went to go tour.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, seriously? You're actually still able to use those servers? That's interesting. And he turned to me and goes, Charlie, basically all of those got decommissioned like in the 90s.
Okay, so going back real quick, I feel like our generation kind of almost has like a unique perspective on technology. Because really that first I look at my first entry into gaming, and like I remember one of the first games I got, I was excited about was Raptor Call of the Shadows. I downloaded on a freaking DVS,
Mm-hmm.
and like that was
Oh,
really.
DBSs.
And I'm thinking because you were talking about the old school, like servers that your school had. I remember my first year at University of Georgia. There's two different ways to do your scheduling, which at school at large was a pain in the ass. You could either one go in using their really terrible Java-based program, which was just, I mean, Java's always been a pretty interesting program,
Mm-hmm.
but back then it was even buggier than hell and slower than hell.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could basically telnet in to I wouldn't call it DOS-based because it's not, but console-based scheduling system.
You mean Unix?
It was probably Unix-based, yeah. I mean, it was pure text-based.
Mm-hmm.
It was like playing Zork with your scheduling. But it was awesome though because it's kind of almost like the throwback idea. Where like, look at us, we have special fancy graphics and it's cool. But it was slower than molasses and just buggy as hell. Whereas if you had any kind of like technical inclination, you could boom log in and like instantaneously snap to get your schedule because it was all right there. But I was, from a gaming, it's like we kind of like our first, formative years of gaming was really kind of that. It was first, modern, almost computer games with color graphics and that stuff. And I just, it's come a long way since we started gaming.
Yes.
And it almost seemed like gaming really started kind of almost becoming mainstream when we first really started getting into gaming.
Right.
I mean, stuff, like Pac-Man and Pong, that stuff had always been there. I guess maybe more from a, I should say, household perspective.
Right, right.
We started coming to the households on a more regular basis. When we were kids, it was the Nintendo. That was kind of one of the first. I mean, it's not the first, obviously, but I don't know. I just think it's kind of interesting. Whereas now, you get a kid and they jump into gaming, and all they know is the iPad.
Yep, that's true.
It's not a bad thing. It's just, I don't know. It just kind of gives it a little bit of different perspective on gaming, maybe.
Yeah, speaking of which, because all the kids are learning how to game on the iPad or the iPhone or whatever.
Yep.
We are quickly becoming the old crotchety men who have to have a controller in their hand. Like, dude, that's so old school. Why would you want to push buttons? All you got to do is tap your fingers anywhere on the screen.
Yeah. I know. Like, yeah. I like, Android games, don't get me wrong. I'm fine playing them in, like, short spurts.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to playing for any length of time, like, it just doesn't do it for me. And maybe it is, I just grew up with using the keyboard and mouse, so that's kind of like my first foray into gaming, so maybe that's just always going to be what I'm into is the keyboard and mouse for gaming. Whereas, kids nowadays, like you said, they're using those iPads from the time they can, touch an electronic device.
Right.
So for them, it's very well going to be the reverse. And for them, those microtransaction games that we loathe and hate and detest, well, guess what? For them, that's the norm. That's just the way it is. Why would it be any other way?
Now, speaking of microtransaction games, I found out a very interesting little tidbit about them. So if you are, let's say you develop a game for the Ouya, let's just say, and you put the price tag of $3.99 on there.
Okay.
30% of the sale is going to go to Ouya, and then 70% is yours.
And that's a pretty standard split among the gatekeepers.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's your run-of-the-mill cut, unless you are some big-ass company and you get a really sweet deal, and then it's like an 80-20 split. So it's not.
Or your EA and your freaking Origin.
I'm not even going to talk about that. Anyway. But here's a fun little thing. There are, unless the platform provider exclusively or explicitly outlines this, microtransactions are pure money for the developer. They don't have to split the money, which is very interesting.
Well, that would kind of explain, because I know Microsoft, like in the Xbox, they don't want microtransaction games.
Right.
And that would obviously make sense, because obviously Microsoft wants a cut. If any money passes to Xbox, they want some of that.
Absolutely.
And if they can't do that to microtransaction games, it kind of makes sense on why they're like, nope, not going to happen. I don't care what you say, peoples. And, obviously from a developer's perspective, why would you want to offer a game for $3.99 when you can maybe make $4 in microtransactions and keep the entire $4 instead of just $3. I know I'm
Well, the thing
rounding.
is, with a microtransaction, you're talking about you may be able to get $4, but also there's the potential to get an extra 99 cents here and 99 cents there because those the price points are so low that they're like, oh, I've got $2 and it would really help me in this part I'm stuck at. I mean, that's why Candy Crush or whatever the fuck the name of the Candy Rush is so fucking popular is because they did the microtransactions right. They keep baiting you by giving you free power ups once in a blue moon. But to really get through some of the harder stages, you need to pay to get some of the extra special power ups. Because I'm stuck on, I think it's like level 118, and I will never pass that because I'm never going to spend money on Candy Rush or whatever the fuck their name is. But yeah, I mean, it would make it, it makes it so much easier. But also when you have a microtransaction game or a free to play with microtransaction, you have to. There's so many companies out there that get this formula wrong. They try to immediately slap you over the face, going, if you really want to play, you got to pay. The smart guys, they get you in, and you get sucked in for hour upon hour upon hour, and then they're like, and then you start hitting that wall of, oh, I'm like this close, but I just can't do it. And then they're like, well, for 99 cents, we'll give you this extra candy bomb, which will bust open this, which might make your game easier. And they're like, oh, all right, 99 cents, that's not bad. Whoop.
Yeah,
Because you're invested in the game.
that makes sense.
Now, changing topics really quick here. You mentioned one thing. You said that you might be at a slight disadvantage simply because you grew up with the controller with the keyboard and mouse. Now, my question is this: there are games that are now appearing on Steam that say that you have to have a gaming controller plugged in to actually play it. What are your opinions of this, where you cannot use the mouse and keyboard to play a game on your PC?
Honestly, if a game is better suited for a controller, I think that's fine. I think the key thing, though, is as long as it's very clear.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to get a game off of Steam, it has to be absolutely abundantly clear that you need a controller to play this game.
Right.
I think that's fine. As long as they're open and transparent about it, chances are I don't have an actual, controller
Right.
for my computer, so I'm probably not going to be playing that game. But as long as they're open and expectations about it, I'm like, whatever. So, especially maybe it gives some of the Greenlight developers kind of a different option then, because they can kind of do something special then.
Right. Well, I bring that up simply because there is a game that just released on Steam just a little bit ago called Brothers, which at first appeared on XBLA,
Mm-hmm.
and it is a dual stick adventure game. Well, actually, it's a dual stick co-op game where it's a single player co-op game. You'll be controlling. I'm just going to use this controller just to show. You'll be controlling one of the brothers with the left analog and one of the brothers with the right analog, and you'll be moving them around at the same time to try to complete puzzles.
Weird.
Now, you really can't do that on the PC. I guess you could technically do it. It would be like really weird to do it on the keyboard. So they put in orange font right below or right above the to purchase spot. They say have to have controller. Attention, have to have controller.
Maybe it's better that way. Maybe it's better to just say, you know what, you need the controller, than trying to remap the controls to the keyboard.
Right.
When the gaming experience would suck using a keyboard. So, it's not a bad thing. It's just a different option.
And to be honest with you, I think you're right. I mean, it's kind of weird for me to see, because when I think PC, I think mouse and keyboard. When I think console, I think controller, and now kind of motion controls, but not really quite yet. But you're right. There are definitely some games out there that probably would be better suited if it was just like on the PC, if it was just controller, and instead of trying to reinvent the wheel and try to make the controls work with the keyboard and mouse, if they were just to say controller only. I'm looking at you, Dead Light. I think that's the name of the game, where you needed that precision to pull off some of the jumps, and you
Mm,
can't get that with the keyboard. It just doesn't. It There's a little bit of, I don't know, like the keyboard. I felt like there was a delay in the keyboard where if I was pushing buttons, I'm pretty sure that I would have been able to do something faster.
makes sense.
Um, so as of right now, oops, hold on a sec. Cat,
She's just saying hello to me.
hello.
She's been neglected.
Yeah. Um, okay. So as of right now, I do believe we've actually cleared the decks of all the independent games that independent developers have reached out to us for. Um, but don't worry, we will continue to reach out to the independent developer marketplace. Part of my deal with Ultra Confusion is I'm going to continue to, at bare minimum, try to find independent games and review them, and then send the companies a review. If we
Hmm.
get lucky, maybe I could find them ahead of buying or purchasing their game, to see if maybe they want us to QA test it or not. I know there's a couple games out there, or a couple developers out there who are interested in showing us their game once they've got it completed, but as of right now, they are nowhere near completion. Uh, let's see. Is there anything else for Alter Confusion?
It's
Zelius?
about 8 o'clock, yo.
I know, I know. So, Zelius, do you have any closing thoughts?
Oh, gaming is good
Gaming
and
is.
moderation.
What is moderation?
That's determined to be to be determined by the end user.
Attaboy. I like that. I like that. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the hour mark, and as much as Zelius and I would love to continue to chit chat, um, I personally have some other obligations that I have to attend to. But have no fear. We will continue to review games for you and educate you in some amazing games that you may not know about. We'll also keep you up to date with all the news and happenings that are going on around the game industry. But until then, thank you for tuning in. For myself, Charlie, and Zelius, we'll see you next week.
Remember, kids, keep on gaming in the free world.
Amen to that, brother.